Welcome to a brand new PCN Life. Sorry we missed you a couple weeks back. This winter has been something else. I'm Julie Thompson.
And I'm Brian Sullivan. On tonight's show, we have Mike Gioscia, the Executive Director of Plymouth Rocks Events, on set to talk about what Plymouth can expect to see from this rockin' new nonprofit.
And we have a brand new local eats with KKatie's Burger Bar in downtown Plymouth.
But tonight, we start our show at Plymouth Plantation. Julie, have you ever wondered what goes into getting Plymouth Plantation ready for the season?
Well, considering it's an outside museum and we've had an incredibly bad winter as far as snow goes, I imagine they have an awful lot of yard work to do.
Really big rakes.
Really
big
rakes.
Like this big.
Yeah. So let's see what it takes to put the plantation together for this spring.
Today is our annual museum cleanup day. We have 200 volunteers dedicating their time and talents to volunteer here at the museum and support our educational mission. We have everyone doing projects such as setting up the English Village, raking and cleaning on the Native Home site. We have people getting the craft center ready to have guests, but really they're dedicating their time to make sure we're ready for Plymouth Plantation's 71st opening season, which is next Saturday, March 17th. A lot of people are in our English Village today. A large group is raking and picking up our village gardens along our pathways, especially from all of these storms that we've been having. There's a lot of down branches and trees, so they're picking up a lot of kind of the debris on the ground and sprucing up some of our sites. Thankfully, our volunteers are amazing and really jump into really wherever they're needed. And a lot of people today are outdoors, which thankfully we have a beautiful day and it's not too cold. But it's really just making sure that we pick the projects that they're really interested in doing and they've done in the past.
What do I like about coming here on cleanup day, which seems kind of crazy, but I'm a descendant of as is my wife, of the Pilgrims, and when we moved here 7 years ago, I started coming because Plymouth Plantation represents the history of this country and where this country began. And what I particularly like about Plymouth and why it's worth my time and energy, and my wife is here today too, Plymouth gives you the true story. They try not to whitewash it or pretend there's one side or another. Without the Native Americans, we would never be here. And we also help the Native Americans in some ways. So it is an institution for Plymouth that Plymouth is proud of. And it is really a treasure. What I'm enjoying about today and the different projects we have to do and the work that needs to be done, really the most fun is meeting the hundreds of people who come here on this cleanup day and getting to know so many different Plymouth citizens and their kids, and then watching everybody kind of doing things that we may not really want to do, but we know it's for a good cause. So we do that, and it's a community builder.
Volunteering here is so worthwhile because it's such a gem in Plymouth. It's like the crown jewel as far as I'm concerned, and to be able to give my time and effort to this, and I'm not even a Mayflower descendant. I think, especially for young people who don't really understand what it was like to be able to come here and see how their forefathers lived. I've taken part in some cooking classes, learning how to cook on the open fires, and to do that and to then go home to my kitchen with the glass cooktop and the microwave and the dishwasher. It's such a wake-up call, and it's actually come in handy a few times when we had the power failures this week. I kind of wasn't as afraid to deal with no electricity because I knew I could manage without it for a few days.
It's really impressive to see what's happening here today. A lot of people from all over the community are here. They're bringing their families here. You have children that have rakes and brooms in their hands, and it's overall just an incredible. It's an incredible day for just seeing how people are pulling together and making this museum the best that it can be. We maintain active friendships and cultivate relationships with volunteers over the year, and that all comes together with this cleanup event as well as other events throughout the year. It's a matter of us all just really coming together and working together to make this a success. We just really appreciate our volunteer base so much. They're really the backbone of this museum, and you know, we're so happy to live in a community that cares so much about Plymouth Plantation, and we just want to thank them for all their work that they're doing here today.
We are so pleased to be joined on set today by Mike Gioscia, who's the Executive Director of Plymouth Rocks. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Plymouth Rocks is a brand new nonprofit here in Plymouth. You've only been around really since the end of 2017 when you were officially launched as a nonprofit. Tell me a little bit about the history of Plymouth Rocks and why you put it together and what it's all about.
Sure. As a musician and filmmaker who lived in Boston for quite a while, moved to the South Shore, found myself for years with my wife going back into Boston, back into Cambridge for film and art and music and so forth. But then that started to kind of change because Plymouth was really happening and there was a lot of music and film and stuff in Plymouth.
Yeah.
So the more we stopped going into the city, spending more time in Plymouth, I'm like, this is so great.
Yeah.
Is there a film festival in Plymouth? As a filmmaker, I love the film festival experience.
Yeah.
And found that there used to be a film festival, but no longer.
Nope.
So I got a couple friends together and said, what if we did cool film and music events and shared proceeds with local school music programs?
Okay.
It was that simple, and my friend said, let's do it.
So you're going to start with your proceeds going to school music programs, and you're going to eventually, hopefully, help relaunch film festivals here in Plymouth.
Absolutely. We're looking to do the Plymouth Rocks Film and Music Festival.
Yeah.
And that should be taking shape hopefully this fall.
Okay.
But again, we have our first fundraiser coming up, which hopefully will help us with that goal.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this fundraiser that you're going to have on April 6th at Memorial Hall. It sounds pretty cool. Why don't you tell me about how you put it together?
It is. So I did radio in Boston for years in the 90s. And one of my connections, someone who I worked with, is this gentleman named David Bieber. And he is an archivist of all types of pop culture memorabilia, a lot of rock and roll stuff, a lot of film stuff. And when I say a lot, I mean hundreds of thousands of pieces that he's gathered over 30, 40, even maybe pushing 50 years. 'Cause he was a collector as a kid even. He has all the stuff that he had when he was a child. So I knew we had this wonderful collection. You can only really see it at the Verb Hotel in Boston. He's the curator there.
So again, you had to go into Boston.
Going to Boston to see this
unbelievable
portions
collection
of this one-of-a-kind collection. And it truly is spectacular at the Verb. But again, that's literally the only place you can see his stuff because he's been collecting it but not really showing it.
Okay.
So I decided to pull my friend card and just say, could we possibly show some of your great stuff at our fundraiser? He graciously said, of course. And we've been pulling pieces very slowly over the last couple months to show at our fundraiser on April 6th.
And how did you decide which pieces out of all of them that you'd pull?
It was tough. It was like Christmas morning. He would come out with a box and you'd be like, what's in there? And he'd be like, it's only labeled. I don't even know.
And you spread it all over the floor and you went crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. Start pulling out posters and stuff. And it was just kind of mind-blowing that after a while I'm thinking we're never going to be able to show all this stuff. We're going to have to stop. And, but it was just wonderful, the trinkets we were pulling out.
So at this fundraiser, are they going to be displayed in different ways?
Yep, it'll be a pop-up museum that we're calling it. So we'll be hanging the stuff on the walls. We'll have stuff on easels, stuff on tables.
Yeah.
We still have to, block all that out and figure it out. But it's going to be great. And again, you can't see this anywhere else.
Right. This is it. This is the place to go.
This is it.
Okay. In a minute, we're going to watch a film about David and his incredible collection of stuff, if you want to call it that. But a little bit more about the fundraiser. So if I go to the fundraiser, I'm going to see all these wonderful things. What else is going to happen there?
So we have food provided by Farms to Forks, which is awesome. So we have a huge local flavor to the festival as well. Indie Fermentations has brewed our own Plymouth Rocks IPA.
Nice.
How many nonprofits have their own beer?
Not many.
We do. Also, Second Wind Brewery will be providing beer as well. Mayflower Brewery, of course. And then Dirty Water Distillery is also providing the spirits for us.
Excellent.
So great food and drink that's local.
Yeah.
We'll be having raffles and auction items as well. A couple pieces from David's collection we're actually going to auction off.
Right, but most of it is not for sale because people will probably say,
Correct.
"Can I come and buy this?" And
Yes,
it's no.
not for
no.
sale and,
Okay.
and no touching.
Yeah, so no touching. Right.
So yeah, food, drink, raffles, guest DJs as well.
Okay.
I'll be there spinning. Also, Tim Downey from Mars Records here in town.
Great.
And also Chachi, who does the Breakfast with the Beatles show.
Yeah.
He's going to do an hour of rare Beatles for us as well.
Wonderful. So really eclectic, different type of evening.
Right,
here
exactly.
in Plymouth.
And
yes.
that's what we're trying to do with Plymouth Rocks, is stuff that you just can't normally get or that you'd have to travel to find.
Excellent. So why don't we take a look at
Great.
the film that will show a little bit about David's incredible collection, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Super.
Let's watch it.
My name is David Bieber, and I guess for want of a better term, the second act of my life is to be a curator, an archivist of pop culture material. I've been collecting for probably 50 years. I acquire things via the media jobs that I've had in the past at WBCN and the Phoenix. Aside from having a day job and getting a salary, the greatest benefit was to have access to the assembly line of great content that was being created by the record companies, the movie companies, all the debris of the pop culture that might have wound up in a landfill. I cupped my hands and saved it. Mike Gioscia and I have worked together for decades, and when he approached me with the idea that even though there is no longer a WFNX, there is now a Plymouth Rocks Film and Music Festival. And so Mike knew that he could tap into my resources and my artifacts. One of the significant segments of my own personal archives and collection are posters, whether it be a film, a record release, a book release, anything like that. And my one line of demarcation was that I wouldn't take a poster for an event that had yet to happen. But at 12:01 on the night that the event happened, I was zooming in on detaching it. One of the most coveted and beautiful in terms of showcasing the talent is the May 1969 poster, which shows 3 nights of Led Zeppelin and 3 nights of The Who. And the thing that is so stunning to think about is that these ticket prices were $2.50 and $3.50. And you could be as close to the stage as you wanted to be. Somebody who's connected with the Boston music scene or somebody who's just curious about music in general will love the items that we have been mutually selecting. It spans all decades, all generations of Boston music. And with what we're doing with the festival is expanding it so that it's not even just Boston music, but it is a complete showcase of things that have occurred and the items that were used, the surfaces, the canvases that were really utilized to get the message out. I love to tell the stories, the backstory, the purpose, the reason, the moment in time that any of these things represent. And there are all these other socials and other media opportunities to get the word out, but there's still nothing like an artistic representation on a flat surface that tells you visually this is what you can expect from the music. In the past, I had loaned things for publications, and I always was just satisfied to get a credit line, and it would say the David Bieber Archives, but that didn't really mean anything because everything was in storage and could have, quite frankly, been a myth. But I'm now delighted to be able to share it with people.
Wow. I'd like to pick his brain.
It's a great thing to do, to pick his brain.
And he has stuff from, the old timers. When I grew up, that was our bands. And
Right.
the prices that they were showing, the Who, Led Zeppelin in Boston, $3 to go see them.
And all playing in the same month at the old Boston Tea Party.
Right, right. So I can understand now why, after seeing that, picking through his collection must have been such a chore.
It's hard to stop because
Yes.
he's got, so many things. I mean, well, you make a big pile, and then after
Yeah.
a while, you're like, okay, we have to make that pile a little smaller. But then it gets bigger again because he pulls out another box.
Right. Now, what about, do young people gravitate towards this older music?
Well, I think it's not just the older stuff. We have posters like from the most recent Boston Calling shows.
Oh, okay.
And things like that. So it's truly all generations. Any rock and roll fan, music fan, film fan will enjoy what we have across the spectrum.
Right. And can you give us any idea of what might be raffled off at the event?
I have 2 posters.
Yeah.
One's an old Boston band that I could not find this poster anywhere on eBay.
Yeah.
And another one is a huge 80s band, and this was like a greatest hits compilation poster.
Yeah.
And I saw it for a couple $100 out there on eBay that someone was sending, but I can't say who it is. You have to come see them.
Right.
But you can win
And
'em.
I think people just, when they go to this event, they're going to start talking to other people that have liked the same interests and the same music over the years, and you might reconnect with people that otherwise you never would probably reconnect with.
Exactly, or like we've been saying, we're picking conversation pieces and hanging them up, and then where the conversation goes
Is
with
where
the
it
crowd
goes.
is up to them. And then I think this is also the type of collection, we could do this every April
Yeah.
for the next 20 years, and you would never see remotely
The same things
the same piece.
repeated. Right. That's how much stuff.
And that we could fill the entire Memorial Hall
Yeah.
instead of just the Blue Room.
Yeah.
Because he's got so much stuff.
And
So
it's not
there's
just music. He also has movie posters and
a ton of
Yeah.
film posters that will be rolling out as well, which ties in with our music and film.
film. So let's talk a little bit about your in October. I think you want to have this music and film festival.
Yep, October.
How do you envision this?
I envision it as a weekend at Memorial Hall.
Okay.
One night being more film related, and then the second night being more of like a rock and roll show. But again, because it's Halloween, there's so many things we could show or do or team
Right.
up with. Talk with the Philharmonic a little bit about in
Yeah.
the future doing something with live music score to film.
Yeah.
which
And there's
would
a
be-
lot that goes on in Plymouth right around Halloween too.
Right, exactly.
So you can piggyback with all that.
And putting in a kids element,
Yep.
during the day, like a matinee show as well, and just making it an unbelievable weekend. Halloween themed, maybe
Right.
a little 80s themed as well.
Yeah.
And then bring in a lot of art pieces again also.
Right. So for this grand first annual film festival, hopefully we'll have in October, are you going to put out a challenge to people to create films for this, just specifically for this?
I think we'll get there. Again, as a filmmaker, I've put my film for consideration to so many festivals, so
Yeah.
I understand that process. I
Yep.
think at the beginning, maybe not, just because you end up getting hundreds,
Right.
if not a couple thousand films.
Yeah.
And right now we're a small nonprofit, so it's watching every film and
Sure.
really giving every film its justice of being seen, and you don't want to rush through anything.
Right.
So I think, but we certainly will get to that point because we'd love to have a call for films and student films as well. Would be great.
And if you had them tie in the whole aspect of music with their films,
Yep.
maybe you could kind of hone it down to the subject matter that you wanted in your first one, in your
Yep.
first film festival.
And also doing music documentary stuff. Where you
Right.
can show a music
Yep.
documentary and then also maybe have a performance from those artists right after.
Perfect. Oh, that'd be so. There's a lot of things that you're thinking about doing. There's
A lot of stuff
a lot of
going on,
creativity.
right.
Now, what if people want to join Plymouth Rocks?
Go to the Facebook, Plymouth
Yep.
Rocks, or go to the website, PlymouthRocksEvents.org.
Okay.
And get more information on us and how to get involved.
Excellent.
And tickets as well. For
For
April 6th.
For April 6th at Memorial Hall. So Plymouth Rocks fundraiser, April 6th at Memorial Hall. Starts at 7?
6:30 is the VIP experience.
Okay.
7:30 general public.
Okay. It's going to prove to be a really cool night.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, and we will have you back again.
Oh, look forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
you. And now we head downtown to our next segment. Local Eats is brand new with KKatie's Burger Bar in Plymouth, a comfy burger joint that makes the hamburger their canvas for culinary creativity.
I'm an America's hometown, and I am about to sample one of America's favorite foods, the hamburger. Why do we love them? Maybe it's because the thought of a burger and a beer just brings on this playful, relaxed, fun vibe. Maybe it's because when a burger is done right, it is the perfect canvas for an infinite number of flavor combinations. So let's check out KKatie's Burger Bar here in downtown Plymouth, where they get burgers right every time. KKatie's Burger Bar. I'm sitting with Katie. Thank you so much for having us today.
Welcome, Donna. Thank you for coming.
I really love the vibe in your restaurant. Tell me, how do you create this friendly, family, comfortable location for everybody?
You said it right there, and that's family. It's all about the family. We all work together as a team, and I think people feel that when they walk in the door. The staff is one of the most important parts of who we are, besides the food, of course.
So in addition to burgers, you have a lot of different choices for appetizers and salads and soups, so there's something for everybody.
Yeah, there is. We try to make a little bit of something for everyone.
I say we take a little sip, taste a little app, and then head in for our burgers. This is my favorite part. We talked about burgers being the perfect canvas. You have so many different choices. And the thing I love about this restaurant is just how fresh all the ingredients are. Tell me a little bit about what you put into making the perfect burger.
Well, it starts with the meat. We use fresh Angus beef, never frozen. We're hand packing them daily. Whether you get plain hamburger or you get something that we've really put a lot of creativity into, we take a lot of pride in our burgers.
How do you choose what goes on your menu?
Well, I stay up late at night. My wheels are always spinning. I'm always thinking about it. I grew up in the restaurant business, and I just always think about food. So I try to work with things that are, of course, fresh, and things that can be current, but usually it starts, like I said, right back to the quality of the ingredient. Yeah.
Currently, what is the favorite on the menu?
My personal favorite, I would really dress it up with the horseradish. We do the peppercorns and horseradish sauce, and we use cherry wood bacon, so it's a really good bacon. Our two biggest sellers would be the Big K-Mac and then bacon cheeseburger.
You know what? I don't think I would be forgiven if I got to be at KKatie's and not bring something home from my family. So I think I'm going to be taking your advice for what I can take away with me. And in the meantime, thank you so much for having us at KKatie's today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you and have a nice night. Thank you so much. I am bringing home some love for the family. Your burger is ready at KKatie's Burger Bar in Plymouth. I'm Donna Rodriguez for PCN Local Eats.
Well, like Donna said, who doesn't love a good burger and a beer? And if you don't like burgers, because there are some people that don't eat meat, there's a ton of other things on their menu. So there's something really for everybody.
Yeah, I've driven by that place. I can't tell you how many times, and I've never gone in. And then that video really showed like how big the place is, what a great selection of burgers, but also a great selection of beers there on tap. I think they were drinking, what, a Guinness and a Blue Moon.
And again, a family-oriented place to go, and it's run by a family. It's really nice.
It's really great. Thanks for watching. If you want to see the show again, you can check out our website, and PCN Life is also on YouTube. Be sure to like us on Facebook and take a peek at our Instagram account to get some behind-the-scenes tidbits.
We will see you next week with a brand new PCN. Until then, keep living life.